Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Alexx Calise and welcome to my brand new podcast. Today on the show, I have a very good friend of mine, Andie Kay. How you doing today, Andie?
I am doing good, Alex. It's good to see you.
It's very good to see you too. So this is the first time I've seen you in quite a long time, and it was great because we actually were able to finally give each other Christmas presents, even though it's close to Easter at the time of the taping here. Firstly, I wanted to tell everybody about who you are, what it is that you do, and what makes you so awesome. So go.
I am half of the songwriting team for the band The Key of F, and the other half is Marie Pettit. We are still fairly new. We only have about 5 songs out. 4 of them we wrote. One of them is a cover that we kind of rejiggered to make our own.
What is rejiggered?
Rejiggered, it means take a song, shake it up, make it different, lick it, stick it, and then it's yours.
Okay, did you just make that up?
I totally did.
Okay, I was like, is that some like crazy Florida slang or something?
Yeah,
Okay,
girl,
we're both
you
Florida
know.
girls, so
Come on, G.
Yeah.
You know rejiggered. You know
yeah.
how you rejigger things.
Talking like a jit over here. No, anyways, I digress. So the reason I wanted to bring you on the show today is obviously you're awesome. We're very good friends. But beyond that, I really wanted to talk to everybody about your social media presence because even though you may not have like these crazy staggering numbers that some of these other influencers may have, what you do have is a very, very loyal audience. Tell us a little bit about that and how you maintain such a strong relationship with all of these people.
Well, first, thank you. That was really, really sweet. I appreciate everything that you said. Social media to me it's about being social. Promoting what we're doing is great, but there's other things in there. It's about engaging with other people, finding like-minded people. Some of them other musicians, some of them just really cool and interesting people that you wouldn't necessarily get a chance to meet just being in your city or your little corner of the globe. I want to get to know the people who are following me, and I want them to know me. And a lot of the people that I follow, they make me laugh on a daily basis with their posts and stuff like that, and just talking about like-minded things, whether it's
So
music
they're
or
like
movies.
friends.
Yeah, they're friends.
Sorry. As I'm like slapping you. No, but not to interrupt you. Yeah.
And I know that you and I are big horror movie fans. There's a lot of horror movie fans that I follow that follow me, and we talk about all of the horror movies that we absolutely love. So it's a lot of fun.
I'm curious about this because I've seen the amount of engagement you've had on your even just your personal post, like your personal page. And I'm wondering to myself, well, like obviously I know you're awesome, but how are these people finding out about you? How are they finding out that you're awesome? Are you using hashtags like these horror fans, for example? How are they finding you think?
I do use hashtags on a lot of it, and sometimes I'll use hashtag horror girl, but also it's the post itself too, and not just the hashtags. It's a variety of postings because I'm not just posting about music stuff. You and I have gone to places where it's been like the I Love Scary Movies exhibit and had a lot of fun there. And so that's a lot of stuff that I'm hashtagging. There are other people who I will actually go out and on search on Instagram, and I'll look up some people who really love like horror movies or goth culture and find things. And if somebody's talking about something that's really interesting, I will leave a comment on it and say how much I really liked what they pointed out, or, oh my God, I love that movie. That's like one of my favorite horror movies ever. What did you love about it? I had this conversation with somebody about 13 Ghosts where we
Great
had,
movie.
I right?
So
Thank
awesomely
you so
bad.
much. It's so one. It's like a Disney movie for goth people.
Yeah.
It's totally, I love that movie. And we went down a rabbit hole talking about this movie, and we ended up following each other. And sometimes it just happens like that. And this is just through comments.
Well, that's a very important point. It is a personal connection. You don't have to have like insane numbers. It's more about having that core base. You
And
know
that
what I'm saying?
connection.
And that
Yeah.
connection. Thank you.
Like, I don't ever think that my Instagram is going to blow up like crazy and have millions of followers.
I hope it does.
You know what?
After
I gotta
this
be
podcast.
honest. Yes, but it's only due to Alex. That's where it's going to happen. But I'm kind of afraid of having millions of followers because I feel like I would be out of touch with things. I wouldn't be able to kind of have that personal connection
Mm-hmm.
anymore to where it's manageable. And I don't know how people like guilty pleasure. I love the Great British Baking Show, but I see some of the bakers who've been on there in past seasons. They have those millions of followers, but they're not connecting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not leaving. They post something. It almost becomes like a business of, I'm here. Here's the reel that I wanted to say. And then I'm not going to talk to anybody else. I'm just going to go about my business. And I just feel like that's kind of like, really? Ah.
Before we started doing the podcast, we were talking about how people are not numbers.
Yeah.
When it comes to social media, they get really wrapped up in that whole concept. Like, I need to have more followers. I need to have more numbers. It's not about, I mean, because you could have all the followers in the world, but what is that really going to do for you?
Yeah.
You know, if you're not getting engagement back from them and you're not really engaging them, what can people do to really bring in an audience?
One of the things is going to sound really cliche, but it's the truth. Be yourself. I mean, be real, be sincere, be authentic. And that's probably one of the best ways to do it. If there's a part of your personality, like, let's say you're naturally inclined to being funny, then lean into that. Do some funny things, but also do a variety of things. Don't always make it one thing. Like I know on my personal Instagram, I don't always make it about the music. There are other like horror movie things that I do on there. Or I'm going out and I'm doing something else, just like walking with my dog or my dog being just stupid because he's a goofball. So it keeps it entertaining and it keeps it interesting with the algorithm on Instagram with the way that it is right now. You've got to be able to pull from all different kinds of areas because they're making it really, really hard to find followers, especially with their search function now. Anybody below a certain amount of likes on their posts, that they don't get seen anymore. And that really sucks what they did with that because it's hard. It's hard sometimes to find like-minded individuals because they get buried in this algorithm.
Well, speaking of that, just in general, like, do you think that it really is about just posting content constantly, or is it
No.
about the quality of the content or what you're saying in the content?
I think it's both of those things. It's the quality of content and what you're saying in it. If it's relatable, and it doesn't mean that everything has to be one thing. It doesn't mean that everything has to be really, really serious about something. A variety of things, but still just make it you, make it your personality, be relatable to other people so that open up a conversation. I love the fact that you can do polls. You can ask people questions and ask for their opinion. The majority of the people are really, really nice and they're going to give you their honest opinion and help you out. I'm fortunate enough that I'm still, honestly, I'm still stunned that people have stuck around. I'm like, y'all aren't bored yet?
No, but that's the thing. That's why we're here, because you always find a way to engage them. In your posts, I'll always see you asking things like, hey, what's your favorite horror movie? Or how are my black-hearted brethren today? Even though she's got like the furthest thing ever from a black heart,
I
you know.
do have a black heart.
That's
and a
not
black
true.
soul.
I don't believe it. You're always engaging, say, the horror community or the alt community. You always find a way of drawing people in, and I think that's extremely important. I used to do this when I was doing my own PR. When I was trying to get articles written about me, what I would do is I would write to the writer of, say, an article that I really liked. For example, because I'm a rock musician, I would find someone that wrote an article about, say, Lizzie Hale or something. I would read the article, and then I would comment about a few things that I liked about the article to the writer and say, hey, I really liked your conversational writing style, or I liked this about this article. And oh my God, did they think that was the greatest thing ever? Because, you know, I was being genuine, like, hey, I really liked this article, but then I would slip in like, hey, you know, I have music that's similar to this artist. Would you care to write a review about my music too? I think because I made that initial introduction and I actually said to them, I really respect your work, and this is what I liked about it. And I wasn't lying about it. I was being genuine about it. I think that in turn, that made them want to actually review my stuff.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. And it's very, very smart because you were genuine about it. You put the effort in to read the article and genuinely tell this person what you liked about it. And people appreciate that. And people aren't stupid. They know when someone isn't being disingenuous. You know, you can tell when somebody, and we can all tell when somebody's doing it on Instagram. How many times have we gotten those, oh my gosh, I love your music. Hey, if you want to buy, like,
Right.
be on my playlist, it's only $20 for, I'm like, off.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You can always tell when somebody hasn't listened to your stuff and they're trying to BS you by jumping in your DMs. And
Right.
it just grates my onion.
Right, but that's a really good way. If you don't know necessarily, how am I going to find new people to listen to my music? Maybe go to some of these different Instagram sites that are for horror fans and start engaging with some of the people in the comments, right?
Yeah. And also there's so many different things that, especially for musical artists, that they can do even within their own community and supporting other musicians. I'm going to use you as an example because we've been friends for a long time, but supporting your band Batfarm, which is amazing, by the way. We support you guys all the time. When you release new stuff, we brag about it on our Instagram. We put it on our Spotify playlists and stuff like that. And you guys do the same thing for us. It lifts everybody up.
Absolutely.
And that's something that every musician or whatever, kind of whatever your thing is, whether you're in entertainment or even if you're a baker and you're just making like dog treats, it's not all about you. It's about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you stop thinking about yourself for a second and focus on someone else and being like, hey, you're doing a really cool thing, I would love to just promote that for you, because genuinely, I think it's cool, not because I'm hoping that you'll do some shit for me.
Yeah, and hey, let's face it, everybody loves talking about themselves. So if you ask somebody, if you ask a question, an open-ended question like, hey, what's your favorite horror movie, or what did you do on Sunday? Everyone's going to be like, this is what I did, because
Right.
I want to share, because, I want to talk about myself. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But you're genuine about it. Like, you're genuinely curious because you have this rabid fan base who loves you and you want to know about them.
I do.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who are helping me continue to make music. I wouldn't be able to do it without them. I mean, you know that as well as I do.
Oh, absolutely.
Without the fans, and God love them. They're fantastic. I've met some fascinating people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're awesome. So, and thank you very much. It was very nice.
Of course. Well, what are some tips that you can offer to, say, some musicians who are really trying to grow their fan base and do it in an organic fashion where they don't have to buy followers and subscribe to all this other BS?
I think it's really about, I'm going to focus on Instagram because I know it a little bit more than TikTok. TikTok is still, I'm starting to get some traction on TikTok. But for Instagram, what I found is doing actual photographic posts and reels and stories. You don't want to overload things. You want to kind of keep yourself a schedule, like maybe start out posting 2 or 3 times a week and maybe do one photo post and then one reel. And then somewhere in between, put a story up of what you're doing. The type of posts that you want to do, you might want to do something for a musician, edgy and cool, talking about photograph, talking about your music, what kind of music that you do. The reel, what I like to do, and this is just kind of how it worked out with me and Marie because of our personalities. She's very light and fluffy and I'm not. Marie and I, when we end up getting together to do a reel, we don't plan well. That's my fault. We just kind of set the camera up and we go. So funny things just naturally happen because our personalities have a tendency to be a little opposite.
Uh-huh.
And we leave that in. It's kind of become a trope for us. We take our music very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously at all.
Same here. Is it just something where you should just press record?
sometimes, yeah, that's what we do. And it's kind of been working for us. And I don't do everything with all of our outtake reels. Like I will post serious things too about, and if you ask somebody nicely within a post, I mean, I'm not I'm not a fan of jumping into people's DMs and asking them to please go and like or follow us on Spotify or on YouTube, or just ask in a post, and they'll go ahead and they'll do it if they want to, and if they don't do it, it's totally fine. It's okay, you know. I think we make a lot of things a lot more important than what they should be, and we
Hmm.
add a lot of pressure
Right.
onto ourselves, and we don't need to do that because there's so much pressure in life already as it
Yeah.
is. Another thing is like looking at what your neighbor is doing. Oh God, I have to get to this level. Again, we're adding so much stress and pressure onto ourselves instead of just being ourselves. And okay, if you're going to follow me, follow me. If you don't want to follow me, all right, then don't follow me. And it's okay.
Right.
I might not have a style of music that you like, or as much as Alexx loves me, not everybody likes me. And I'm strangely okay with that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? And it's going to be stuff like that. You're not going to like everybody, and not everybody's going to like you.
Right.
Um,
You have to be okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that finding kind of your niche, but also being able to branch out and be curious about other things, and doing some sort of a mashup with reels. Like if you see a reel that you love and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to know how they did this. I think it's a great way to start a conversation with another person on Instagram if you see something, because how complimentary would that be? Like,
Oh
oh my
yeah.
God, it's one of the nicest things was when a girl that follows me, her name is Gabby, and she's so sweet. She took our song New Orleans that Alexx helped with, by the way. She
Oh,
was,
did I shout on that one?
yeah, you shouted on that one. Dennis was playing tambourine. We did all sorts of stuff
So
on that
that's the
song.
extent of it. Like help is a very strong word. It was I shouted on the song.
Girl, you gave help.
Thank
It was
you.
help.
It was help.
It
Okay. All
was.
right.
We couldn't do that by ourselves.
You
That
could
was
shout just fine.
awesome. But she was so cool. She ended up, she put a pair of headphones on. She was listening to New Orleans in the headphones, and she had it playing in the background for the reel, and she's singing along to our song. My heart just melted.
Yeah,
It
that's
was the
cool.
nicest thing. I mean, that just makes you feel so good, and it's going to turn around, and I continue to support her with everything that she's doing. And she is an amazing cosplayer. I mean, amazing what she can do with makeup. So it's so much fun to be able to kind of lift each other up and support each other. And
Oh,
that's with a
yeah.
stranger who I've never met.
I've met people just in the weirdest situations. Like for example, there's this guy that bought some of my brother, God rest his soul, his old video games. I sold them on Facebook Marketplace, and now we're friends.
Oh, wow.
You know, just on Facebook. You know, he's just this guy that collects video games, and now like we talk every now and then, and he'll send stuff to me in the mail on occasion, like little presents and stuff. And this
That's
is
so
someone I've
sweet.
never met before, but he's super cool. Now we're friends on Facebook, and
You didn't sell any of the Resident Evil ones though, did
I
you?
did not know.
Okay, good.
He didn't have any of those. No, it was like Indiana Jones and stuff like that.
Oh,
GoldenEye,
okay.
I think.
I remember that GoldenEye game. I
GoldenEye
used to
freaking
play that.
slaps, man.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, I used to play that.
GoldenEye. Yeah.
Giving away my age.
Hey, me too. Me too. That's what Botox is for, right?
Amen, sister.
So, Andie, those were some really, really great suggestions that you had as far as helping to grow your social media fan base. Is there anything else that you can think of that could help people to organically engage their audience without buying into some of these ridiculous scammy services?
I guess one of the other things that I could say is, and I'm giving advice that I really need to take myself, is don't be afraid to kind of reach out and follow somebody first if their account interests you. But if you don't get a follow back right away, don't just all of a sudden unfollow them. Give them a chance. I mean, life is busy as it is. And sometimes I know it takes me like several days sometimes to be able to go through stuff and get a chance to follow people back. But the nice thing about it is leaving those comments. If you're going to follow someone, like their stuff, comment on it. Because there's also, it's always a little weird when somebody just follows you out of the blue and doesn't like any of your shit. And you're like, okay, are you a real person? Are you a robot? But you always know that it's somebody genuine and real when they're going to come along and they're liking things. And they're like, hey, you seem pretty cool. I'm going to follow you. And I usually will try to do that. And I need to do it more. Reach out and follow someone. Reach out and follow somebody.
Reach out and follow. Can you tell everybody where they can follow you?
Yeah. I'm on Instagram as Andie Kay, just the letter K. You can also follow our band. It's the key of _F. I'm also on TikTok. If you would like to follow me on there, it's Andie Kay 1313. We're on Spotify as the key of F. If you want to go ahead and listen and stream our music, we'd appreciate it. And YouTube too, as the key of F band.
YouTube too, as far
YouTube
as opposed to YouTube one, YouTube one. Sorry, this is what we're friends.
It's a much better YouTube. YouTube 2. Have you not heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of YouTube 2.
Oh my. Yeah, so YouTube as well.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
This is the school of better English.
Yeah.
Gooder English.
We are from Florida, so you'll have to excuse
pardon us.
But we're from the civilized part, right? No,
yeah, we are.
No, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm from South Florida.
I'm from South Florida. Yeah.
But I lived in Orlando, so that's more civilized.
Is it?
Is it? Maybe?
Maybe not. Well, that's a whole other conversation. But Andie, thank you so much for joining me.
It's been so much fun.
So much
Alex,
fun.
Thank you so much.
We'll have to bring you back just so we can actually
have a floor to talk about.
Well, not just that, but just so we can actually say we hung out with each other, because we see each other on holidays to give each other gifts. At least 6 months after or post holiday.
I know, we got to stop that.
Yeah, we really should. So thank you, Andie, so much. It was great to see you. And for everybody else at home, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.